What's up, YouTube? I can give that another video, and today's video is going to be a really hard one for me to make, and I think it'll be affecting me for a while. I won't be leaving YouTube or anything. I'm going to be just focused on COD more often, but I just want everyone to know before we get in this video, no matter what happens, no matter what they say, that I wanted nothing but the best for the server and for the people in it. And then I really did try to fix things. I tried to make things better. I tried to make the community happier, and I failed at that, and it sucks that I failed. But let's get into about like everything that happened in the past month, and then specifically today, that led to me being banned and removed from adminship of the official Resurgence Daisy server. I think for us to understand the story, we should go back in time a little bit. So go back about 6 months from now. KGB's owner, Deke, sold the server to Spartacus, and basically backstabbed him and basically stole the server back, deleted everything. And so we left their server and started our own, build off the foundations of old KGB, and we vowed to never be like that, to never allow people to come into our server or take control of everything, you know. And fast forward now, because that kind of brings us up to date with the backstory of the server. Fast forward now to the beginning of last month, and a group of players named Kakashi, Phoenix, Arctic, Bane, and a couple others joined the server. And at first, they seemed probably chill. I don't know. Barely ever talked to them. And then today, well, more like the last month, but mainly today, some things have happened with them, and we'll go into more depth with that soon. But some backstory of the gameplay you're seeing, I want you guys to know this so you can keep this in mind as you're watching this. This is a base that are enemies of the server, which would be Phoenix and his faction, which is basically Spartacus, the owner of the server's faction, who has everything they could ever want. This is their base. So basically, the guy paid for the base. He paid a donation to the server for a faction base. His faction got banned for breaking rules, but he was not, because he didn't break any rules. So he left for a time being, just to take a break. And so he asked the base to be either like taken out the game completely or just left alone, locked and laying, because he was going to come back. And the server owner, Spartacus, decided that he was just going to take the base for himself and his faction. And so they moved in. And now, normally, I don't think this is a bad thing, because if it's already built, why not use it to your abilities? I mean, we got Syndicate's base when the Syndicate faction was dismantled, or had Syndicate's base. But the problem is his squad was abusing the powers that be, which was the playing with the owner, and they were spawn killing, freshie killing, harassing players on the coast, and just flat out being terrible people overall. And these are shitty people. We're talking people who hang out and they talk shit about players, constantly picking on players, raiding bases for no reason, like toxic players. And so we're actually attacking the base here because they had Spartacus actually called me privately and threatened my base, because at the time of this video we had a war going on. Basically, some guy threw some nades at our base. We went to attack him after he killed some innocent people who were just visiting the base, looking at it. We were just showing off because we're a community faction, a bounty hunting faction. So we were, we help the community grow rather than hunt it. For fun anyway. Obviously, if we have bounties, we hunt those. But we chase after them to get revenge for the people they killed. And Phoenix squad intervened and got caught in the crossfire. And they launched a full-scale war, fully declared war on us on Discord. And for the most part, it was pretty calm. but then they started targeting our boys randomly. And then today, my boys are fighting them outside their base because they don't leave the base. In turn, causing them to threaten to erase our base over the weekend. And normally that would be fine, so I didn't, freak out about it. I said, okay, I got all my allies together, and we organize our resources and figure out game plans. And in the meantime, the boys went down. It's a Sunday night. Base raiding was over. We weren't planning on raiding. We just wanted to PvP a little bit, get kind of a feel for how they played. And this is the whole video you'll see is them playing like this. We sat in the same places all night for like 2 hours. And they didn't leave the base, not one time. They had perfect opportunities to. There was only 4 of us in the trees at the time, and there was about 10 of them guys online. So they had the numbers advantage, but they did not have the skill advantage, unfortunately, for them. So that kind of gives you backstory of the gameplay. So let's get into the problems that have been occurring recently, and I have some photos that I will be dropping at the end of the video for you guys to stop and look at and read, because I have nothing to hide. I don't care about the server anymore, but I want people to understand how corrupt he's gotten since they've arrived. So before this, there was high tension between me and Kakashi and his squad. The tension was unknown, though. It was kind of weird because at this point, which would be the beginning of this month, end of last month, I had not talked to them at all, really. They became moderators and everything, and I still did talk to them. I never got invited to parties. I was never included in conversations, in chats. I was never included in looting runs or PvP runs or base raids. And so I had no meaning to them in any way. And they had, for some reason, a vendetta against me. We've been dealing with some people on the server that didn't like me. There's a guy on the server we banned early on in the server's history. And he was making troll accounts, harassing me pretty much online. And I didn't care too much. I didn't get out of control. I just hunted that account when I seen it. Otherwise, I moved on my life. You might have seen some of them if you play the server. Alex is Tool, Alex is Gay, and some other ones. And so things were fine. There was tension. You could tell it was tension. But for the most part, I stayed in my own lane. I helped the server grow. I helped my boys get better at the game and do better things and grind and all that cool stuff. And obviously, I was playing COD on my side. And then it would be about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we noticed an argument broke out between me and Spartacus, the owner, because the Kakashi guy was putting inappropriate sexual memes in our staff chat, and I had timed him out for 5 minutes. That was it. Just 5 minutes. I told him to stop. He didn't listen. He kept saying, and so obviously, being the admin that I am, I made sure that that the moderators need to be respectful of the admins as well, because obviously, if the moderators don't care about the admins' words, then the regular player won't. So I timed him out for 5 minutes. That's not a harsh timeout, in my opinion. I think anything under an hour is a fair timeout for a first offense. And Spartacus then went ahead and told me that I was acting without a reason, and that I was over exaggerating, basically, and that I was power tripping, and then removed his timeout. And in this argument, in Discord, at least I don't have pictures of, but I do have pictures of everything that happened today. Just an FYI, because obviously back then I wasn't assuming any of this was going to happen. So we did a staff meeting. I told Spartacus how I felt. It was a very hard meeting. I'll be the first to admit, we went over a lot of things. I cried, and I just basically told him what I had been going through, to try to give a branch out, give an olive branch, hoping that I could fix things if I just been open and welcoming to my own life. And Marauder, our fellow admin, he had found images of Phoenix, which is part of Kakashi's group, adding those troll accounts to our staff chats. He then tried to lie it off and say that he had nothing to do with it, that it was a long time ago. Problem was, those chat groups were not that old. They were only within maybe a month. So things quieted off. They cooled off after that. I confronted him. He said that, and I kind of just whatevered it. Things progressively got worse over time via snide comments, or if I had an opinion about something, or if I was talking to a fellow supporter of our Discord or our server, and I brought their opinion to just Spartacus, he would kind of laugh it off and not really give a shit. And these are all signs that we can all learn from if you play DayZ of corrupt leaders in the works. Spartacus used to be the best leader of a group I could ever have wanted, which is why I backed him 110% every single time. But since Stack Squad became a thing, they have been secretly brainwashing him behind the scenes, and he has been out of control, to be frank. He has been treating people with corrupt powers for decades, for months. I don't know why I said decades, but it feels like that. Every time he would fight somebody or go to raid somebody's base, he would Plox map, which is technically abusing powers because that's not supposed to be used like that. He would grief bases all the time if you didn't like how he ran things. We would ban factions all the time that were not agreeing with the way he ran things. He aggressively pushed off a squad of guys named Derp, which turned out to be the better decision because they were cheaters after all. But besides the point, they at the beginning didn't do nothing wrong, and he pushed them off the server. Obviously, in this whole thing, I was not agreeing with it, but I was backing him because I was an admin, and that was my job, to back him and support him in his decisions. Then some things happened with Syndicate, and I told him that I don't like the way they were run, so he basically cried like a little bitch and decided to retire Syndicate and remove it. We got the base. Since Bloodhounds, which was the faction I created, which was a bounty hunting and protection detail guy, like corporation almost, where I would train players, and if you guys needed protection or hunting down a certain player, we could do that for you. And Genesis and Avery, which were two of the more OGer players, they came with us when we originally started the server. Apparently, we're involved in leaking the codes for Syndicate base. But after about a 2-week investigation done by me, completely separated from the server, and personal feelings, and I found no conclusive evidence, actually more evidence on the contrary, to proving Genesis' innocence. But Spartacus used his powers at B and turned that down. By this point, I was already over it. I had pretty much given up all hope for the server at that point for him, because I had felt at this point that Kakashi and them have gone too far. And so I focused on the faction. I focused on building my crew, meeting some new people, getting tons of new players to the server, and focusing on that. I did tons of building and tons of looting runs, and I did my own raids that were within legal limits with the server. And I kind of just stayed away. I helped the trader if I need be, and people needed help, I would help them. But when it came to Spartacus and his team, I completely ignored them. I didn't interact with them unless absolutely necessary. I would reach out once in a while to see if they wanted to play, but if he decided he didn't respond, then I would let it go. That brings us to this week. So this week, the war begins, like I said earlier, with the whole grenade thing. And you'll see it at the end of the video, the pictures. He basically goes on this long spew and all this crazy shit gets said. And he basically at the end of the thing gives us an ultimatum for me and Marauder, which Marauder really didn't do anything. He was just kind of hanging out with me, being a friend, which is what Spartacus should have been. But he was so worried about, jacking off his team. I don't know. And so he gave us an ultimatum to either, basically from what I could understand from the message was either do exactly what he says and don't argue, or leave the server. And so I made the ultimate decision to leave the server after I had some choice words with him in a party chat. And that's basically the end of the story. I know I'm not giving you guys everything, like super detailed, but I feel like you guys have the right to decide whether or not you want to participate in this server. I just want everyone to know, because I worked at the server, I know for a fact they will prox map you. They will keep track of your base's location due to build logs, because they would do it all the time. And if you are a big base, if you're a big faction on that server, and you do not ally and do exactly what Phoenix and Kashi's group wants, they will get you out of that server. They will find a way to boot you out. Okay, they did it with Genesis. They did it with me. They did it with Dorp's team. They are ruthless. They will make up lies about you. They will turn things to make them look like the victim. They are manipulative. They are disrespectful. They are rude, and they are corrupt, and they have corrupted the owner. Unfortunately, that sucks, because the server is actually a really good server. The loot economy is really good. The trader was really cool. We had some cool events planned. We had boxings, a church in game. We had all these types of cool things. We were going to do a flea market. There was so much that we had planned, especially me. I did a lot of the work, okay? A lot. I was putting sometimes 10 hours a day into the server, trying to come up with new ideas, working out new ideas, constantly sharing the server online, and it just sucks that this went down the way it did. Again, you all are adults. You guys can decide for yourselves, but please keep in mind that these guys do not care if you do not suck them off. If you are not 100% backing them, and you even attempt to voice your opinion, they will shut you down. He got mad at me because I created a survey for the server today, and I posted it so that anyone that had any complaints or any questions or any concerns or changes they would like could fill out the survey, completely anonymous and do it. And he got mad at me for it, because I wanted to hear from you guys, the community. And so my final thoughts are, Spartacus, if you're watching this, I know you probably are. I thought of you as a brother, man. And when you're ready to talk, you know where to find me. Here's the pictures, guys.